So you'll go to Wix.com. And you won't have all of these sites. These are that's my playground where I have a lot of different things for students. But you will come up to create a new site and select that. You will choose create on Wix editor. That's going to be, regardless of how you begin, you're going to use the free site, not the one that is paid. You're going to use the Wix editor. And we're going to ignore most of the AI. We have assignments where we walk you through using it in a way that we permit it, but overall, we don't want our sites to have AI because students who do that end up with about 20 points lower than they would otherwise. And that's because the site makes up things, and it also defaults to industry jargon and buzzwords, which makes our site basically a template. That's pretty much what it does. It may throw in one or two words that we have told it, but unfortunately, when students use it, they're creating something that isn't them at all. So we set up without chat. We're going to skip this. We're going to skip a lot of these, okay, because they're things we don't need. And things we don't need will slow us down. You can put a name there if you want, or you can name it later. So we're going to skip that. We're going to skip this. And we're going to skip all the apps. And then you'll have to wait a minute for it to decide to give us our dashboard. All right, so when we get to this page, we do not want to, click out of that. When we get to this page, we do not want to enter a domain. This is not the same as a name for our site. They're asking us to purchase a domain, a special domain, and we don't need one for this, and we're not going to do that. We will go up to design the site. We'll pick a template here with this button, but that's not exactly what we're going to do. We're not going to choose a pre-made template. What we will do is choose a blank template. And we're going to choose the one that starts from scratch. That way we don't have anything we have to replace, and our images are not backgrounds, which is what the templates will give us. All right, so this is where we end up to start. We really only use mostly the plus and the pages and menu primarily, but this week what students will start to turn in will be the header and the footer. So to select the header, we're just going to choose Add Elements. We could use the button over here, but when we start here, it puts us in the ballpark of what we really want. So we want to stay in our themes, and we're just going to drag and drop a menu, which is what we want to begin with. And then what we can do is come over here and add pages. We know we're going to need an about page. If you chose one of these, again, it doesn't treat images the same way as if you were to just have an additive approach to a blank page. You would have to replace these images differently. So let's choose a blank page. So now we have a blank, and we're just going to name it About. We know we're going to need a project page, so let's create a project page. We just hit blank and created a new one. And we know we're going to need a contact page, and those are all that we need. We will use the template for that because we can use everything that they have there. We're not going to choose the ones with images, just the basic. So here we have the pages. We don't have to have a home page. If we want, we can delete that. And then the about or the next page will automatically become the home page. Okay. All right, so now we have our navigation and all the pages that we actually are required to have. But we do need to have your name in the header. So we're going to add elements, choose text, stay with theme. We're going to drag over the heading. That may be a little big to fit every word that you want, so maybe you want your heading 1 to be a smaller size. Heading 1 is good because search engines like it. They will read through those, but that doesn't mean that it has to be large. It's still labeled a heading 1 as far as search engines are concerned. So, but we can save it to the theme, and now our heading 1 is much smaller. I really want that to be 40, don't I? Just because. All right. And so you're going to put your name and your key skill here. Now maybe your name is longer, or maybe your skill is longer, and so maybe you need to put this with a line break, right? If it's, but we're going to say cinematographer, because if it's cinematography, that could be anything. It can be classes, it can be anything, but a cinematographer's website is much more specific, so we're going to do that. We do want to stay within the grid lines so that when your screen is resized, it doesn't end up off the page. Okay, so that's a good idea with this one. You can grab these and change the depth of the header if you like. You can center that or whatever you like. You could put a logo here if you needed to, or over here. So we don't have anything here yet, but we do want to go down here and make the footer, because you're not required to have content for this yet, but we are required to have your footer. So let's add the footer. We don't need all of this. That makes our footer rather deep and takes up important space. So we don't really need that. But what we do need, what you're required to have, so we'll go to text, themed text and paragraph, is your name and the copyright year. So you'll go here and you'll select option G at the same time, and that will give you the copyright year. Then you'll put 2026 and your name. Okay. If you want, you can pull this over, and that will enable you to center it. And that's really all you need there. You can even make this less deep if you wanted to, but that's what you have. So now you have, I think, everything you need, the screenshot that you would need for your first submission of your actual site. You can come up here, switch pages. That tells us where we are. We're on our about. We do want to have, we'll have text, stay with your theme, and bring over something legible in size. And we need to have an image. So we're going to upload an image. Let's see, think quick. This isn't the best, but this is what we'll do. And down here, add to page. So now we have an image that we want to resize the way we need to. It really should be a taller image. That would be better. And if you double click, you'll get your cropping right here that you can work on. All right. However you want. That's way too big, but it is a vertical. And then you will be given an assignment 2.1 where you write your about copy and do this. All right, so that would be one of your next submissions. All right. And then what you'll do is you'll have your projects. For projects, you can go to the add element, and the easiest way is to go to video and music and just drag over a YouTube player. You can Command V if you want, copy paste, and we do need to extend this, and you can put that here if you like, or you can do it staggered, however you want. And then you're going to add your text. You're going to use the same text consistently, okay? And you're going to just check your spacing and all of those. Now, I do want to bring this down a little further because I want to have a heading for this page. And we want to call it whatever we call it in our menu. Could be portfolio, could be works, but that's, or projects, but that's what we want to do. So I'm going to, I think, use a heading 4, just because. You can make those decisions. And then I'll say projects, okay? Or maybe I want to go projects. I do think that's a little big, but anyway, so that's what you would do there. And then we're going to bring this down. Okay, and you can copy and paste that too. This is where you're going to put your role, what you did for the video, what gear you may have used, that kind of thing. All right. And, you know, you could add another one if you needed to. If you're in the associates, you're really only required to have 2, but you could add more. And then your contact page. So if we go to our contact page, we see we have placeholder in text. We do have to update that for this demonstration. I'm going to take it out. I'm going to close up any gaps. And we delete the number. You can use a Google Voice number that's free, but we don't put our number out on the web like that. And for your social icons, you can double click that. If you have something you don't use, you can take it out. We recommend at least a LinkedIn, but maybe you want to put a YouTube link icon. So you'll go up here to add icons, and you could say YouTube, and then choose an icon that you think fits, and come down here, select add to gallery, and there you'll have it. Over here is where you'll link your channel. So you'll go select the link. It is a web address, and you'll put your URL there for your channel. Okay. And then you'll select done, and you have it there. Okay. We do want to link our email, so you're going to put your email there. Let's see. And once you have entered that, you select the link, come down to email, and add your email there as well. And then select done. That means that when anybody opens up their mail, it will automatically be going to you in their particular mail application, whatever they're using for their email. All right, and so that's really all there is to it for the month. We do ask you to check your mobile. It will take some adjusting, usually, in some way. You can see this has to be closed up. You may have wanted something there. Now any change you make on your desktop will show up in your mobile usually, but that doesn't mean that everything in your mobile is going to show up in your desktop. So you can edit your desktop and it won't change your mobile. Okay. All right. Okay, so we can look at our other pages. And of course, you're going to have more content there. And I think we also want to come over here to the About. We have to set that in, I think it was a heading 4, and I think we made it smaller, but we just need to make, be consistent about all of that, our size that we use. Then projects, and then contact. That is pretty much it. Once you have all of this populated, you're done as far as your site. If you keep it simple, then you're going to like it. The main thing is, this is just your skeleton. The main thing is your work. So that's what you want to showcase. You are able to freeze your header, for example. That's a good idea. And so that it's always there when you're scrolling. You're also able, your menu needs to always be there. You can also, let's see, select, change the header design, and you want to make sure usually that it has 100 opacity so that when you're scrolling, it doesn't overlap text. So the thing we want to do next is publish over here in the top right, view, and you could copy the view site link and submit that. All right, so you see how this is scrolling and the header is staying put, and this is not overlapping. It would if I hadn't adjusted the opacity to 100%, then that would be overlapping the text and that wouldn't look as great. Yeah, so we'd have to go through and make that exactly the same way. That's how you do it without using a template. And the reason we like not using a template sometimes, the template has a lot of things to remove. It has backgrounds, it has login buttons, shopping carts, all sorts of things that students often lose points on because they don't remove them. Okay, and you are free to change the color if that's something that you want to do. All right, but we do want to make sure we have sufficient contrast. All right, are there any questions about any of that?
No questions. It's nice to get a refresher because it's been a while since I used Wix, so yeah. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it is nice to get a refresher. And, you know, I just want you to be able to see how easy it can be. Sometimes you can go into site design and maybe you want to choose a color for your background all the way through. Maybe you want to add a color, something like that. We can apply it. What we don't see down here, because here we go, we can hit apply to other pages and select all pages if we want that to be our background. Okay, so just because it's simple doesn't mean that it has to be boring. You know, it could be, let's see, black. You'd have to change this font to white. You know, black and white always looks good with photography, and cinematography. But anyway, all right, so I'm going to stop there. And if you have any questions about that, you can always reach out. Of course, we have to keep this. Go into design, make sure that we custom our, if we make changes, we have to custom our words up here. The regular, we have to make sure there's enough contrast. We would have to publish and preview that. And sometimes it does take a minute and you have to publish it and preview it and changes will be there.